fan wants to know, did he ever miss when he threw the guitar to Charlie, or did Charlie ever miss and the guitar not get caught?
I know one time he missed it, and Elvis went over and beat him with a guitar. No, I'll be honest with you, I can't honestly answer that, but I can tell you who probably can, and if I get a chance, I guarantee you we will interview him, and the other person is not with us any longer that could have answered that, and the person I'm talking about that's not with us is Dick Grove, and but Sam Thompson could answer that probably for you, and would, you know, if we ever get a chance, or ask him personally, he'll probably answer it for you. But if we ever get a chance to interview him, we will. And but he can answer your question, since, you know, a lot of times during those times I wasn't there. So,
and I can tell you somebody else that might is Keith Alverson.
you
know, as the photographer, because he took.
And maybe Al Strada, you know.
But Dean, any of the guys standing around. When we were with him, I never knew of a time that he ever. No. And if he had, it would have been Charlie's fault.
Not his.
You know, speaking of Charlie, I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, could he really sing, or was just he up there to give, you know, support Elvis, give him the scarves and all that?" Charlie had a beautiful voice, beautiful voice, and he did harmony with Elvis.
A couple of
really
records,
good,
you know, and anyway, that answers that question, and I guess we'll move on to the next one, since I can't remember the song and him. No.
One that I like asked, what or did Elvis have any favorite artist or a type of music that he liked, or did he not listen to a lot of music because that's what he did for a living, and he did not, you know, he didn't have other artists he liked, or he was tired of it after his job?
No, I mean, who could come up to him? So, you know, he wasn't movie wise or, you know, Elvis.
He loved it.
He loved music, and he loved listening to music. It didn't make it. Very seldom would he listen to one of his own records. Once in a great while. Most of the time, what he'd listen to would be when they got through with recording and all. The playbacks, and he would listen to those until
he got it like he wanted it.
Like he wanted it. You know, Elvis. I felt like, you know, his came from the inside. You know, most of his songs he tried to put his, you know, personal touch in it.
Perfectionist on that, yeah.
If he could be, you know. And he
Can you name some of the artists that he liked? I know.
Oh yeah, God,
John Gary was one of the people that he loved.
So many.
And he liked Anne Murray and
Dean Martin.
Dean Martin.
Bobby Darin, you know.
Yeah.
Ricky Nelson, even him, you know, he listened to. He loved music, and if it was a good song, like Adam Wade, who recorded and Elvis recorded the song after he did and all, and he loved his voice. He had a really good voice, and Elvis listened to him, and yes, I mean, you know. He liked music, performers, and, you know, he loved music in general. That's all you could say. And he would listen to a lot of other people, and went to different ones shows a lot of times. You know, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. Jackie Wilson and
he loved Jackie Wilson, yeah. You know, he
just
recorded a lot of people's songs that he recorded. One of our good friends, Billy Swan. He recorded "I Can Help." Billy wrote that, and Billy recorded it too.
Yeah,
but
he had it out first, and it done real well for him,
Yeah.
and then
Elvis heard it and he liked
And
it and he recorded it.
maybe with some luck, we'll have an interview with
Billy.
Swan.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we will. He lives in Nashville, and if we get a chance to drive up there and all, we go by and see
Yeah.
if we can't get an interview with him. He's a wonderful person, and he really crazy about Elvis. You know, he liked Elvis a lot, and so yeah. As far as artists and movies and all, he would watch the dailies on a lot of his movies, and what that is, what they had filmed that day during the movie. He'd watch it once in a while, and I mean it was a rarity. He would watch one of his movies, but most of the time he wouldn't watch his movies or listen to his own records.
No.
He'd rather listen to other artists, you know. And but
I do remember one time when we were up in his room and we were singing, he was singing, and he had Ginger singing a part, you singing a part, all of us singing a different part, and it was Way Down. Remember that?
yes, but I'm
Huh?
gonna stand to correct you.
Oh, it wasn't Way Down?
No, it wasn't Ginger.
It was too. I remembered.
I think anyway, I say it was Linda, she says it was Ginger.
I
but,
think it was,
we'll find out, because I remember,
Linda had a voice too. Though.
Yeah,
Linda has a good voice, but
I'm not
was
putting
just-
Ginger down, don't misunderstand
No.
me, it just wasn't.
I don't know why I was just,
But, you know, you may be right and I may be wrong. We'll find
We'll
out
see.
and we'll let you know, I promise. Anyway, next
What
one.
about y'all? What other than Elvis? What's your favorite genre of music or artists that you like?
Jungle Room?
Genre of music. Type genre of
What?
music.
Now, she uses
Like
these
50s,
big words and I'm
60s,
what
disco.
What did we like?
Yes. What do
type
you
of
like?
music?
What type of music? Yes.
We always like rock and roll.
It's my accent.
Folks, look,
She's southern. She's real southern.
I have no other idea what that word means. Oh,
We
Look,
like
I can't
rock and
help it.
roll.
I'm, you
I like
know,
Yeah,
country.
well, that's
I'm
like country, rock and roll, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
disco.
Oh, why
like
did you just
sing-
say that
I
then?
like-
Why, you know,
I was
but
trying
this
to
big
sound-
high class word that,
I was trying to
a
sound like
redneck
the
like me
Biz.
can't understand.
I like 60s, 50s and 60s. I love the rock and roll in those days, and I did not like country until later. I didn't like it back when I was little. I thought, oh my God, if my mother plays another one of those songs, I'm gonna
Sad,
die.
Well,
sad,
But I love
long, drawn
Yeah.
out.
Well, I did like country. I listened to country
I do too
as
now.
a kid, and of course, I loved the 50s and the
60s.
I like
60s.
the 60s.
And
like the
you know,
60s.
then another era come along, and you know, as my kids liked it, and some of that I liked. You know,
Well, that's like Nolan. He's
And-
hairband.
Uh-huh.
All the hair bands all the way, and to me they're new because I wasn't in that.
Yeah.
But I like 50s, 60s,
hair
70s.
bands. Is that like when you put your hair back and you got a band in it?
well, like to us.
90s alternative rock, but
Yeah.
I wasn't a 70s or 80s type.
Now I was a disco fool. I'm gonna tell you, when them lights went
Disco.
spinning, boy, I could slap you. No, I didn't listen too much.
We
to
like
disco.
we love dancing though. Dancing. I can remember going to sock hops and dance till we had blisters on our feet. But
And I always told her, save the last dance for me.
I liked all those. But I loved Janis Joplin, and that of course nobody, because of our feelings and connections with Elvis, nobody topped Elvis to us. But I liked Janis Joplin
Janis
a whole lot.
Joplin, yeah.
I liked Ricky Nelson. You know?
And I like Janis Joplin because of him.
Yeah, because I used
Oh,
to
I
play
had
Janis
so
Joplin
many in
all
the
the time. I
50s
like
and
Mick
60s,
Jagger.
you know,
I like,
ladies. That I liked, you know.
Yeah.
just,
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart. I liked Rod Stewart.
golly, I can't name all of them. I can go from, you know, Clyde McFadder to,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, Nolan's radio is set on hair bands, and some of it I hear, and I'm like, "Is this new?" And he's like, "You're a child." It's not. Everybody's, I guess, group and generation
I
had
don't know.
their
I
own.
liked the music when it had words that you could understand, and
To us, we thought it had feelings, but of course, you know,
yeah.
never,
But everybody has their own.
yeah, that feels the same way about
Yeah.
their music. So, you know.
It's
but,
like
God, I remember just so many different ones that I liked back, you know,
me
when I
too.
was. You know,
And
there was
like,
a lot of them, a lot of greats.
mhm.
Bobby V, Bobby Rydell.
I can remember
Bobby
songs
Darin,
like "Burning Bridges."
Oh God, Jack Scott. Yeah,
Hearts
yeah.
Made of Stone.
I can name them for a while, but I won't.
Oh yeah, just
But that's
great songs.
Yeah,
But too, we get to thinking, and our parents probably didn't like some of the stuff we liked. That's why I don't. I always let Joey and Danny listen to any kind of music they wanted because it was during their time. And they did. They loved Foreigner, Kiss.
Yeah, Kiss, yeah.
Joey's favorite was Kiss. He had Kiss posters all over the ceiling. Danny loved Alabama.
Three Dog Night.
Three Dog Night. Just
well,
and we did too. We learned to through them. We liked.
I listened to the 50s and 60s when you could get the CDs. Y'all ordered them off TV and you got that huge set, and I would use them, and I started liking that. But I'm a mood, whatever kind of mood I'm in. It's if angry or happy or sad or whatever.
But
whatever goes with it.
It's like you can hear a song and it puts you back in the place you were when you heard it.
Right. It brings back certain.
Yeah,
times,
music does that.
But but none, and believe me, I know. I tell you the truth, and none matched Elvis.
No.
No, it's not. In fact, let me just say, I have got one of the biggest Elvis collection of records
Yes.
that you could think of, and
Every one of them.
the only ones I don't have are the Sun. I had them, and there's a little story behind that, and boy, I wish somebody would have kicked me, God. But we were traveling to Tupelo, and I had Elvis's first 3 records, that's all I had in my mind, and golly. But anyway, these records, I had them, and I had them in their sleeves, the Sun sleeves, and I was trying to get them out of the way of the other stuff we were carrying, and I laid them in the back, up and behind the back glass.
Sun.
When we got
walked
there, they looked like an
more.
ocean. And God, that man, I could, But I as a kid, a teenager, I didn't realize, that.
You know what somebody should have done to you?
Yeah, beat me
If they'd
severely
have
about the
had a
head and
rubber
shoulders, I
hose.
tell you. Golly. But as far as from there on,
Yep.
I've got them if they've been put out, and after he passed away, I've got just one heck of a collection of
Maybe one video you
Stuff
can get
and
them
then-
out and we can show.
Oh,
show
there's so
them.
many.
Yeah.
There's how many? Hundreds?
I've got over, say, about 230 just albums alone. And, I say
And
I got
40
one of
we
these.
have
There's other
45
people
too.
that got
Yeah.
bigger ones, but
So we collect too,
yeah, I've got some of the ones that are not for sale. They're promo copies.
Yeah.
And
Promo. That's the.
I've
yeah,
even got one of Ricky Nelson too, promo.
Promo
It's
copy.
late, so I got some of Elvis. And gosh, I would.
That's a
I was a
passion
big
of-
Elvis fan too.
Yeah. But Billy always collected records.
What?
Yeah, really. Believe it or not.
And coins. You can,
Yeah.
Coins and
Two
records
things that I
and
believed in. collecting.
knives.
Dice.
Knives.
Oh, okay.
No,
I think you say dice. I never collected the dice. All the ones I collected were in Vegas, and they
Vegas.
had a tendency to take rather than give.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go.
Here's one. Someone wants to know, where was your favorite place to live? Both of y'all. Where was your favorite place to live with Elvis? Was it California? Was it Graceland? Was it the ranch? Was it Tupelo? Way back in the day.
Let me tell you something.
Back in the day.
Anywhere
Way
with Elvis.
back in the day.
Anywhere with
Back when
Elvis
dirt was
nice.
just coming around. Yeah, it didn't. As long as I was, we were with him, any place.
I loved
But no, I'll say.
I loved Graceland, and I loved the Circle G because we had the horses, and at Circle, well, we had the horses at Graceland too. But I don't know, which one did you like better?
Me? Horses or?
Graceland? No, Graceland or Circle G.
I liked Graceland.
I like Graceland too.
Because, that's.
We,
where,
it was
I
Graceland.
lived at Graceland, so,
Yeah.
it was.
When Elvis
it
was alive,
exceptionally special. to
Graceland
me.
was home. It was like.
Audubon was pretty, but Graceland just
Yeah.
was it.
But it was quiet. You wouldn't realize that the highway was right there. Everything was up inside those gates. It was quiet. It was like living out in the country, really. Like, and it was.
Well, at one time when he bought it, it was.
It was, but it was
kinda
peaceful and.
Was the highway where it is now, or had they moved it?
No.
What about the little, you know what I'm trying to say?
Curves around
The
the
little
lane.
curve where you can go and stop and sign the wall and
They
go.
didn't have- that
Did they
was-
add that after
yeah.
the
That
fact?
was added.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
added.
added
The sidewalk and all that was added.
after he bought Graceland.
Yeah.
What about in California? What was your favorite place that he had there?
Mine was, as far as, looks and all and style, was probably Bellagio Road. It was kind of a
Spanish.
Spanish-looking home, and
The stucco roof.
went in
Have
and,
the
had
stucco.
a big winding stairs and all, and
We-
it had like 3 floors,
Yeah. It was pretty.
Then the main floor, and then the basement floor, and then the upstairs where the bedrooms and all were, and a library. And
Did he own those, or did he rent
no,
them?
he
all?
just leased,
leased
them for
them.
certain length of
I
time.
loved Perugia Way, but that's just because that's the first one that I went to and I lived there.
Yeah.
But it was not the prettiest or the nicest. It just I don't know. I just had a lot of memories there. And then we had after Joey was born, Elvis furnished us an apartment.
Mhm.
So we got to have our own place, and we lived on Beverly Glen, down from UCLA,
Mhm. Yeah.
and not far
Westwood.
from Westwood, yeah. And but I don't know. California was nice, and it was a pretty state, but I didn't like it as much as I liked the South.
Yeah.
I liked
Home.
home.
If we call
Yeah,
it.
Graceland was home.
Because I guess, wherever you are living
Wherever
and
you-
all,
yeah.
it's,
Depends on who you're with and
yeah.
what, if you got your family and all that, that's home.
But I've myself have just been, more of a country person,
Yeah.
always have been,
Yeah, we like country.
I'm city folk.
I'm just,
Yeah, Daniel's
I
Danielle-
gotta be
yeah.
close to town, close to a store, close to an
Nah.
interstate. And when I say city, it's like it's not a big city, but. Do you know what made Elvis want to buy Graceland?
well,
And along with it, their question was it really a church at one time? And if so, what
I
happened there,
think I've
and what
told it.
made him want to buy it?
yeah, I think I've told the story before, but it all started naturally on Audubon Drive. Fans had started to actually come in around more, and they actually, did come to the Getwell home that he had. He lived on Lamar. He had one there, Lamar, and then Getwell, and then Audubon. And Audubon, Elvis had already, was a big star and all, and fans coming from, all around locally, and sometimes further places and states from from Memphis, and
Houses were close there.
and the houses over there were a lot closer together, and it got to be a problem for all the people that lived around him rather than Elvis. By then, you're talking about people that was in their yards and their yards and so on, and
I'd have been okay with it.
and
but-
then he had hired my daddy during that time. That daddy was actually the first person on Elvis's payroll, and he worked as the guard, and tried to handle them, and he had tried to keep them, as best he could. But it got so crowded that either they were in Elvis's yard or in the road. And that was it. That's literally was it, because
Blocks
these
of
people here were
traffic.
complaining, and all the people down through there were complaining about all the fans, and
Yeah.
later at night, because sometimes they wouldn't leave till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and so they got to complaining. They took up a petition to buy Elvis's home, and Elvis said, "No," he said, "I tell you what, you find out how much they want for so many houses this way and so many houses that way, and I'll buy them from them." And so word got back to him and all that, and so they said, "Well, we're not going to sell our home, but we don't."
But didn't they
care about
find
that.
out after his
Found
was
out. I'll get to it. Yep, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I didn't know you were.
But come to find out that Elvis was the only one that had paid cash and owned his own home in there, and that was Hardeman Drive.
Yeah.
So I think he got to looking around, a little bit, and believe it or not, I can't. There was two twins, and I can't think of their name. Girls. And
Lazenby twins.
Lazenby, right? I think that's
Jean and Jane
they
Lazenby.
had told him about a place in Whitehaven, and if I'm not mistaken, they may have lived out there. I'm not sure, but anyway, they had told him about this place, and actually went with him, and they drove to it, and it was Graceland, and showed him, and he found out that Mrs. Grace Moore, who had the home, was interested in selling it. So he tried to find out how much she wanted for it, and he found out, and that's when he purchased Graceland. And now Miss Moore was a very Christian woman. She getting older, and and she loved going to church, and at times she would actually have church services held, if I remember right, they said the basement part of Graceland, and which would be like his den and the pool room, and she would hold church services there, and that's how people got it that it was a church. It was that she sometimes held church services there. But anyway, that's how that come about, and Elvis bought Graceland, and from there on, of course, he had it completely redone. He had a decorator, interior decorator, yard man decorator, and fence builders, and all that, all working pretty much at the same time. And
Yeah.
just right after he bought it and all, that's when we moved into the house out back. And Daddy, he would help oversee when Uncle Vernon and Aunt Gladys wasn't there to oversee how the decorating and all was coming along.
So you actually moved there before Elvis.
Elvis did, yeah. And but that's that story. Hope that answered your question.
Another one is the tree where Elvis shot at the snake still there?
No, he cut it down right after that. He couldn't. He didn't hit the snake, so he cut the tree down.
It was the tree's fault.
It was the tree.
He was punished.
Tree moved when he didn't want it. Now,
As far as we know, it's still there.
yeah, it's still there. It was a pretty healthy looking tree, and all the
They're
pictures.
out in front of Graceland now.
But yeah,
Kinda, so
and all the
I can't
pictures I've
stand
seen of Graceland
Yeah.
now, the tree's still there. Now I'm sure it's still got a few pellets from the shotgun shells embedded in it that will always be
Did
there.
he miss the snake though? Really?
He missed the snake. Of course, I had started up the tree, and that's, when he cut loose,
you started down the
I
tree.
came back down the tree and back over where he was. But he missed the snake, and he regretted that. But that was that story. The tree's still there.
Another fan wants to know where were Aunt Delta and Dodger when he recorded in the den, and was it loud, or wouldn't it have been loud
Oh,
for
he
them?
sent them to a hotel.
No,
Kicked them out and said, no. They stayed in,
Grandma's room.
well, Grandma's room originally was
Dodger is Grandma, so that's
Graceland, and all was St. Gladys and Michael Vernon's room, before she passed away, and then later it became Grandma's room.
yeah.
And Aunt Delta stayed in there with her, although Aunt Delta did have a room to herself if she wanted it, but most of the time she spent the time with
Grandma.
Grandma. And anyway, that's that. Next, and the next one, I think the next question kind of goes into part of it. Go ahead and
Wanna
read
go
it.
with?
I can't see, I don't have my, yeah, I do, excuse me.
Well, I just wanted to make
No,
sure what you were looking
Pardon
at.
me, I'll read this off since you can't.
It's my handwriting, so okay.
Did Elvis' ginger father,
Grandfather.
Elvis's grandfather.
really bail Travis out and leave? No, that's not the one I was thinking about, but anyway, we'll answer it too.
Think so.
Oh, I bet you were going with what is directly on the other side of the block wall.
No, I was thinking
Okay,
about
well,
more
hang
of the muffling of the sound. Could they hear it?
Oh yeah, it was together in one. Was it loud for them? Could they hear it, or was anything done?
Right, okay, well,
Not
Yeah.
that he cared if he disturbed anybody, but
no, what? Say what? Anyway,
It was loud.
it was loud.
speaking loud, Lane's
But she's
making
okay. Let her.
chocolate milk and
Kids
loud.
gonna be kids are gonna be kids, and that's Laney. She's actually making her some chocolate milk. And but anyway, getting back to the story. When they recorded at Graceland, they actually put up blankets and stuff around, in different areas.
Yeah.
And that was to muffle, keep the sound.
And there was carpet on the ceiling.
Yeah,
So
and right, and that helped too.
Mm-hmm.
And they, it muffled the sound to contain it, basically right in that area. And but it wasn't. We were in the dining room, most of us, and stayed in there, and we could barely hear it, And of course, in Grandma's room with the door closed and all.
they probably did.
They probably
didn't
just
bother.
barely hear it if they, heard it at all, and so that answers your question on there, and I'll go on to the next one.
All right. What is directly on the other side of the block wall with the drapes that's at the first landing of the stairs at Graceland?
Well, they got a real big statue of Elvis, and it's back behind there.
No.
And they only reveal it to
I'm sitting here going, I don't know what
I
that.
never saw that.
No, what it was, he put it up there, to kind of, blend in with
And cover up.
and cover up, blend in with the interior downstairs. And at that time it was red. Red, I don't know what color it is now. I'm thinking it's blue, but I couldn't swear it, I don't know. But anyway, behind it was a door, and this door led out to a little balcony that was over the top of the jungle room. Is that right? Yeah, jungle room. I'm right. Thought it was. And that's where that door, so it covered it up and all. Anyway, and that answers that one. And that's,
Okay.
and with that, I think that maybe will be the last one. And just want to say we'll get to some more questions and all
More
for you.
stories.
And more stories. And like I said, like we always says,
Elvis Fans Matter! Remember that!
remember it and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.
Want to welcome you to Elvis Fans Matter. Me and Santa. And me and Joe, we separated.
This is the furthest we've been apart in how many years?
Oh, God. Along about
This is
six-
Danielle's
No,
doing
But
for
anyway,
setup.
we just wanted to kind of show our Christmas tree off, and we decorated for Christmas. And
Talk about Christmases
talk.
and UFOs.
And we right, that's a good one. We're gonna talk about UFOs. Of course, y'all know what it is. Unidentified flying objects. Like, if you took something and the person didn't know what it was and you threw it at them, like I used to, Joe, that would be a unidentified them objects. That, of course, she usually threw back. No, this is a thing that Elvis got into. It was kind of a mystery to him, and so a lot of that was going around at the time, UFOs and all that. So Elvis kind of got into it and got to reading certain articles and things, books about it. And what fascinated him my whole life was naturally the crash, that they had in New Mexico, and different sightings. And at that time, had been talking to other people about it, and somebody mentioned, that Jackie Gleason had visited one of the bases. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but supposed to. Went to one of the bases that was called Hangar 18. And
They made a movie about that.
then we got to find out about that, what supposedly UFO he saw and all this kind of stuff. Now that story I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's true. We just heard it. But Hangar 18, and then it became Area 51, and the aliens, the actual aliens that they supposed to have had or have. We don't know. I mean, it's just. But we got to looking and viewing in the sky and all, looking for UFOs. And Elvis even bought a big old telescope, so we could bring in things closer. But anyway, then he'd get to saying, oh, man, it's not too far-fetched. I mean, after all, nothing's beyond God's doing, so, we don't know if there's other lives out there. He said it's kind of an interesting thing, so we actually got to looking for them, and somebody would spot something that was moving, and of course the first thing we'd think about would be an aeroplane, but certain things that we saw, it didn't look like an airplane. I remember one time they spotted one and everybody kept saying it looks like a cigar. Well, I was always kind of the doubting Thomas of the group, and I said, "That's cigars." I said, "Yeah." I said, "All that is I said that's an airplane, and believe it or not, Elvis, it's probably gonna land with a lot of cigars on it, the kind you like Villager Kyle and all that." I said, "Yeah, that's about all that is." And he said, "Oh, you sillies." And I ain't gonna say what he said. But then we'd spot other objects, and we, bring them in close, but we still couldn't tell on the telescope exactly what it was. But we did that in California, going across country, and Memphis, and like I say, we got wrapped up into that for about a year and a half, and we did spot a few things that was,
out of the ordinary,
a little on the hairy side. I remember the last one was right there. About 75, wasn't it?
Are you talking about the one at Graceland?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up to you. We had gone out to get the motorcycles out to go for a ride, and go ahead.
No, you can tell you.
Well, Elvis had come out, and he had come out and was hugging us, and we all of a sudden this huge light, like back behind our trailer, like over toward the.
Yeah, it would actually been kind of north.
Yeah, north. And he said, well, what was that? And we didn't, we just all stood there for a while. It was just solid and big light, and all of a sudden it just was gone. And we didn't think any more about it. We went on the riding motorcycles, and the next day in the paper, it had a big thing about the big light, the UFO spotted on Norris Road. I remember because that was my maiden name, Norris, and they had spotted one on Norris, and it was in the paper. And of course, oh, you see.
Yeah, and they had checked with the Air Force Base because we have one here in Memphis, and they had no record of it at all.
No. So
undoubtedly it didn't show up on their radar, and as fast as this thing moved, it was bright.
Yeah.
And, you could see it. I don't care how fast it's moving. When the light moves, you can still see it. And boy, that sucker
it just
went by. And it was there and gone.
Yeah.
And of course,
I remember
like Joe
that.
said, we read in the paper about that, and.
Elvis loved anything out of the ordinary. Any kind of mystery, or he was real open-minded.
If there's other life. He said, he said it's not too far-fetched to excuse me, to
well, like you said,
believe it is. He said
all things are possible.
Maybe they're here to guide us and not destroy us. He said, well, that kind of intelligence, if they wanted to do away with us, they wouldn't have any problems. So, you know, they're not here to harm us. Maybe they're here to help us along and guide us, you know. And we talked about stuff like that.
That's one of the things that we spend a lot. People ask, what did y'all do up in that room for so long? Up in his room. That's one of the things we would
Some
do.
of the things, we talk about stuff
talk
like
about
that. And, like I say, it was an interesting thing, and we, like I say, we saw
several,
and the aliens, you know, they. He said, man, I reckon the government's trying to actually got them and trying to hide them. He said, look at how fast the military planes have developed so quick and all. He said, who knows? He said, even back in Germany, he said they had certain things that they were copying, Air Force wise. And he said, a lot of them actually look like a lot of the UFOs, similar. They never did develop it, but years later they came out with a documentary on stuff like that. So things were, they were quite interesting to us, and we did that for a good many years, and
hours
hours
up
at
in
a
his
time
room.
we talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think we all about halfway believe there might be, another intelligent life, beyond us, and but nothing ever was that we could prove out or
No.
anything, but we did hang on to that thought.
But it was
that's just
fun it was fun and very interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Elvis studied a lot of different things. He really got into it and studied it and looked up stuff. He was very intelligent, not, just, he had so many interests and things like that. And anything out of the ordinary or anything in the Bible or anything like that, he was fascinated. He just loved it.
Yeah. But we hope you enjoyed this little story and all, and we'll be talking about other things as we go along, and just want to remind everybody now that really hope you'll tell your friends and all to come to our channel and subscribe, and just like Medicare and all that, it's free.
I want to say one thing too before
Go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for posting on the EFM channel. We had so many people that wished us happy anniversary,
Yes.
sent cards, gifts, and you don't know how much we appreciate that. That coming from Elvis's fans means a lot to us.
It does, and we mean that sincerely.
Yes, we do.
And like I say, that's why I came up with Elvis Fans Matter, because they matter to Elvis, and I can see now why. And y'all really it means so
Over
much
all
to
these
us,
years to keep
Yeah.
him
keeping his memory going this
Yeah.
long, just totally, it's fascinating, and we love y'all for that. And
Yes.
we just want to say
You're a blessing
remember-
to us.
Huh?
Not
Go ahead.
everybody says how we share in such a blessing. All of them are a blessing to us,
Yeah.
that it keeps
Keep it
somebody
going,
that we love so much. And
we just want to say
Elvis Fans Matter. Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
We are here, live and in person. We might talk a lot of bull today.
We do that every day.
Pardon me, but this is a bull story.
Oh.
No, we talking about the ranch earlier, and it kind of brought up some things, on the ranch. Elvis had some Santa Gertrudis cows on the ranch, quite a nice little herd. I think like 100 head or so. And, they were pretty animals, they really was. He had one big boy named Duke,
Oh, I remember Duke.
the bull.
Duke.
I think he weighed right at 2,400 something pounds. And they had to have these big round bars around him because, he was a big one.
He was
And,
beautiful.
But believe it or not, he was pretty gentle. You could get over in there with him and pet him and all that kind of stuff. Had some nice horns on him, though. But I, like everybody else, I stayed leery of him because that's just something you didn't want to tackle. I only rode him about 6 or 7 times, I think. No, just kidding. When I got on that sucker.
Not for anything.
Pow, straight to the moon,
About like that motorcycle,
Yeah.
did you? Elvis used to like to ride around like he was herding up cattle.
Yeah.
Really, down there we played
We
cowboys and
herded them
Indians.
up, with the horses and
Yeah.
all, and everybody,
Herd them up and
just
Move
kind
'em
of
out.
get them in a small area, just to be doing something. But
the ranch was really some of our best days.
it was
We
a
had
lot of fun at the
had
ranch.
a
It
lot
really
of fun
was.
on the
We
ranch.
had, I kind of hate that he had to get rid of it, but I can understand why. But
Were we actually the first ones that lived there?
yep.
He bought us
He bought us a house trailer, and it was sitting right over there where the barn is. For any of y'all, when you come in, you got the
To the left.
house, and you come on in through the
gate.
little fence area around the house at gate, and when you come through, and all, if you was coming through, you'd be on the left hand side was a big barn, kind of a L-shaped barn. And right at the end of that barn, he had our house trailer put.
That's because
And that's just right after he
Yeah.
bought it, and he was, he was spending some time down there, and had it hooked up and all, and he would, come around riding horses and all when he come down there. And of course, we stayed down there at that time,
Yeah.
because we actually lived down there.
he later when he bought when he bought the other trailers he bought some of them, but some of them had to buy their own, didn't they? Or did he?
No,
pay
he
down?
bought all of them, but they were all in Elvis's name.
That's right. That's
The
right.
only one it wasn't was mine.
Was ours,
So,
He got everybody one. Then he moved us over on the far side, everybody on the back side,
backside.
and to the back gate where it was. And
I told him, I said, look, Elvis, between all these horses and these cows, the crowd is just too much.
no, you didn't.
Anyway, he decided to have them all put over there in the back. That
We
way
spent a lot of time.
we had
We
a lot
lived
of-
there for several years on the ranch.
several years.
Well, a few years, not until he
How
sold
many?
it. A few until he sold it. We moved there.
We
for,
were there.
What, 2
we
years?
were there. No, we weren't even there 2 years.
Really?
About a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Seemed like a lot longer. I
It
guess.
did. It seemed like it was.
It
lot
was,
longer, but it wasn't. It was only like a year and a half.
Yeah, we did everything. We rode horses. When it snowed, like Billy told once before, he'd get that metal boat hooked up to the tractor and pull us around in that metal boat on the snow. But the ranch was actually, it looked like a golf course when he
Oh,
had it.
man,
It was
yeah.
groomed. Everything was beautiful. That big lake and the bridge across it, the big old cross up there.
You know, the horses and the cows said, "Look, man, what's happened to the
Yeah.
grass around here?" You know.
Yeah, because he had it cut. Earl and Mike cut the grass.
What's the matter with y'all? Don't you realize we eat grass? He didn't have it cut that much.
No, they just kept it down.
Because they had it was sectioned in some sections, and
Yeah.
they let the
Well, like,
horses.
I-
they let the horses out and the cows out, and that really
Yeah,
would.
the cows were most back over in the back pasture
Well,
most of the
they
time.
were out in
Yeah.
the front too. It depends on what the grass was doing, and they get through eating so much here they move them.
Yeah,
you know. And,
That's right, and let that grow up.
Mhm.
I remember
Mhm.
one day we were out there, and it was you and me and Alan and I think Richard, and we used to ride our horses up and down that fence that faced 301.
Yeah.
And I had a beautiful walking horse named Traveler that Elvis had bought for me, and I thought, and it made me just look like I was really a great rider because of the gait. And I thought, well, I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna show out a little bit and ride up and down here. Well, I got to going on Traveler, and I was really into it. Thought I looked real good, and somebody came by and blew this horn. It sounded like a rooga, and it scared that horse. And he stretched out, and I was like, help! Billy and was it you and Richard or
Me
you and
and Richard,
Alan
I
had to
think.
run me down and catch him. I was freaked out. That was the last time I tried to show out on my horse like I really was great. But that scared me to death.
Marty was always down there, but he just wasn't much on riding horses.
Marty didn't like
But he-
motorcycles or horses.
He usually rode around in this truck or one of the vehicles down there.
Yeah, and he'd tell Elvis, Elvis was, he would say, don't buy me one because that's just a waste. That's a waste because I don't ride motorcycles and I don't ride horses. So there's no sense in getting me one. I think everybody else we had them all named. Mine was Travelers. Billy had a Appaloosa named Mohawk.
No, yeah.
And that was the wildest. Nobody could.
We got out there when we first, moved. Everybody was down there, and everybody got horses. Well, he had a pen like thing,
Yeah.
kind of like a little brush, and we went around and we put all the
Horses' names.
on there. He wanted
think
to do that and put all the names on there. And then later had these plates made up for them, Circle G Ranch, and the horse's name under it.
He bought them all, those fitted blankets that we put on them in the wintertime. And we'd go around and mend fences. And Elvis would have a little sack of nails and a hammer that we took around. And we'd stop. And does that look like it needs? And he'd get out and hammer on the fence post. We loved it. It was just like, I don't know.
I know
Bonanza.
one time in the afternoon, he had taken his sleeping medication. And of course, when something hit him, he didn't care it. So he got on Sun, and we looked out, and here he come, boy. One side to the other, back and forth, and all that. And I said, what is wrong with him? Well, he rode over there, and I just wanted to come over and say, getting ready to go in, and all. And just was looking around. He had a dang bag of hot dog buns.
Yeah, hamburger buns.
Hamburger buns, yeah. Anyway, he rode off, and the first thing that came to mind is I said, Joe, he looks like Cat Ballou riding across.
He came over.
I didn't say that to him.
No, he came over to tell us good night and be ready.
If anybody's ever seen Cat Ballou with Lee Marvin, well, they'll know what I'm talking about. But It just whatever hit him, boy. He just,
Well, he stopped by because he was out that way,
Yeah.
and he stopped by to use the bathroom, because he didn't want to go all the way back to the house,
Okay.
and he wanted to tell us good night and be ready for the next day because we had big things.
big plans.
Always had.
I
We
always
got
had
big
plans.
things to do tomorrow. Big things, and we did. We always did.
But we-
It was big to us anyway.
Yeah.
It was
but
fun.
Like I say, for a little while there, man, it was a great place, and I know he enjoyed it. He really did, and I think the expense got a little too much. Not to go into any details, but he had like 3 places,
Yeah.
Graceland, the ranch,
And he started not staying down there as much, and it was just
and California, and so he had to give it up. And another reason was finances had changed a little. Let me just come out and say it. That's during the time the colonel was getting 50% of
Right.
Elvis's salary. So yeah, things had to change. And
don't
so
sugar
that
don't
one he had to-
sugarcoat it.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that he had to give up. Is a ranch, because the expense was heavy at that time, and
And he had a lot of guys that were working for him at that
he had
time.
a lot of
He had a big
employees,
group.
So he
And during that time, he outfitted every one of us with jackets, boots, cowboy hats, chaps. I know you had chaps like his,
Yeah,
black and white
right.
chaps.
Mhm.
Elvis, when
a
he
little
did,
shorter leg.
a little light shorter.
I look, I look like a real cowboy.
But when Elvis did something like, say, the ranch, he had to go all the way.
He went
like
out
you had
all
to
the
have
way
the
out.
yeah. He was that way with anything. You had to have the cowboy stuff, the
The works.
the works, the hammer and the nails, the the fence system in but it was like you didn't have to grow up. You could still do what you wanted to, have fun and still be grown up and but still be a kid. And
How long?
I guess that's one thing that
Pardon, Danielle?
How long did Colonel take 50%?
from then on,
67 on.
yeah, which was unheard of.
I mean, that is unheard of.
I don't know. That was
Well,
that
I
was,
don't want to get into all that right now because it's just too long, but
but you know why.
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And,
Which
it is what it is.
it is what it is, and
There ain't no more.
and that's old news. And I mean it.
But, like I say, we did really enjoy the ranch. It
We
was,
did. We loved it.
For a while there, boy, it was just, it was just fun to get down there to it. And,
Couldn't wait. Couldn't wait to get.
yeah.
But
I mean, gosh, he'd get up and say, come on, and hell, we'd jump in his ranchero and we'd start down
that's
to the
another thing.
ranch.
He bought everybody a ranchero or a truck.
And we'd stop at Dairy Queen, which was about the only thing,
Mhm.
in Horn Lake at that time. We'd stop there and get us some of these ice cream sandwiches.
What was that
He
place
loved
called? It was called, Danielle, it's a restaurant now.
it. Dale's.
Dale's. It used to be a little ice cream stand, and they
Yeah.
built a humongous.
And
We'd
as
stop
far as
there.
I know, they shut down the whole thing recently
Really?
on State Line.
We would
yeah.
stop there and get ice cream,
Yeah.
and
But
those
we
were the
had
days.
a great time, boy. We really did and enjoyed it. I think all the guys. I think
Mm-hmm.
all of them enjoyed it.
I remember when he first went down to look at the place. We all went with him, and I think they had like 1 or 2 bedrooms in the house. It's a
Yeah.
small house,
Small house, yeah.
and we all went in one room. All the guys and their wives and girlfriends, whatever, and we all slept on the
Yep.
floor. And
Spent the night there.
Yeah,
you know.
spent the night there. Of course, we were in line for the bathroom because they had one bathroom too.
Yeah. It was either get in line or go outside. You know?
Yeah. We
I
did.
went over to the barn join the horses. No.
It was just fun just to hang out there, though. You could go. There was a little office over at the barn, and we used to go over there and groom the horses and sit in that little office and talk and just everyday normal things that you couldn't picture Elvis doing, but he did. He loved it.
Yeah. Had one of them old timey gas tanks that was round.
Yeah.
And stood up, you know, and it actually worked. He kept, you know, kept fuel in it. I think mostly kept just a diesel fuel, you know, mostly for the tractor. You know,
he bought everybody a horse that fit their personality, and everybody named them. And he gave me Traveler, and actually Mohawk he bought for himself.
Well, he was gonna get it for himself,
Yeah.
and then.
And you told him he looked kind of silly on that small of a horse.
Yeah, I said, "You sure you want this horse? Because I wanted it."
Billy wanted that. Billy wanted
that. He was, you know, Appalachian. He was a stud.
He was a stallion.
Stallion.
He was a beautiful
stud.
horse.
Yeah,
Beautiful
he was.
horse.
He was a pretty horse, but he wasn't. He wasn't
But
really
wild.
biggest.
Whew.
But, and he thought about it. And he thought, yeah, no, he's really. He rode him, and he said, "No, you can have him."
He said, yeah, he wanted the Palomino. He wanted
He
Son.
wanted to. Yeah, at that time he never had seen.
No,
Son.
he hadn't seen Son yet.
But went around to a lot of places that sold horses, farms, and all, and he finally come across Son. He knew it as soon as he saw him, and that's one he wanted.
Mm-hmm. He even bought one from Dale Robinson because it was
Sputnik Star. Dale
Star.
Robinson Ranch,
Well,
yeah.
he bought it and then Priscilla gave it to me, and he was a little bit high strung, and I don't know who.
Crazy's more like it.
Well,
yeah.
crazy. And anyway, we wound up not
I
keeping.
think I know why Dale
Star.
Robinson got rid of it.
Yeah. But we had a great
He was
time.
a nutcase
the
on
horse.
4
Yeah.
legs. But
You should tell the story about Tom.
I can't. I'm just too old.
I'll tell
to
you a
remember.
story. Billy's horse was so high strung, and like I said, his name was Mohawk. And we were out of town. We had to go back to California. Elvis doing the movie, and we were out there. And Billy said, "Just anybody wants to ride him, whatever. I don't really care." So one of Elvis's cousins brought his wife, and they came down to the ranch to see the horses and to ride. And she asked him to give her something. She wanted to ride, and she said, "I want something, spirited."
I want one that's as spirited as you can get.
Yeah.
So
Mike said,
I've rode before, and I don't want one of these that just walks around. I want something that's got some spirit to it.
So
Well,
Mike
that
said,
was a mistake because Earl looked at Mike, and Mike looked at Earl and said,
Mohawk.
I think we got just the one for you. So they saddled up Mohawk. Well, when she got on, she started off walking, and she gigged him, and that was just
Her
not
first
the right
mistake.
thing
That was
to
her
do.
first mistake.
That horse took off, boy, and all you seen was her bouncing all over a heckin'
Half acre.
half acre, mostly the acre, boy. And he went up over this hill where the lake was.
Lake.
And I mean, he stopped dead still. When he did, she went right over into the pond.
Into the lake.
And Earl,
Excuse me.
Mike said, "Here she come back, hair all down her head and all that, leading Mohawk back." She wasn't riding no more.
Mike said, "Was she spirited? Was he spirited enough
Mike
for
said,
you?"
"Is that spirited enough for you?" And she didn't find it funny at all.
Well, he was, because if you didn't keep his head tied down, he was wild, like hold his head
Tore
way
his
up.
head back,
He
yeah.
ran into a tree with Billy one time, and
Yeah,
knocked
he did.
Billy and the saddle both off.
Yeah. That's what they call a tie down. He needed it because he was one of those that throw his
We
head
went.
back, and you don't see as good.
No,
A horse doesn't with his head all the way back.
Yeah.
And I found that out real quick here.
Remember the time?
clipped a tree, and I went one way, the saddle went off, and the horse went the other, After I caught my breath, I thought about killing him. I really did, but
Remember the time you said,
it was my fault, it wasn't his.
let's take the horses out and we'll ride a little bit. So I got Traveler saddled up, and Billy got Mohawk saddled up. He said, I just want you to see the progress I've made with Mohawk.
Well, I did.
And I said, really? He said, yeah, you won't believe how calm he is now. So I thought, okay, I'm still not going to ride him, but we got on the horses and we rode, and Mohawk was acting real good. Billy had tie down on him. And we got up to the lake and we stopped and got off for a minute. And he said, now just watch this. He dropped the reins and he said, stay, just stay. And Billy said, see that? And Billy had this little cigar and he took it out and put it in his mouth. He said, just watch him. He'll stand there till I, get back on him. And he struck the match to light his cigar. And when he did, that horse buck jumped and took off running and ran.
Got a little more than buck.
He did. And
he broke a little wind.
he bucked all the way back to the barn. Billy had to ride back double on Traveler. I said, I see, he's real calm.
Yeah.
A lot of progress.
Well, I did. He was, I didn't realize he didn't like fire.
Well, it was just a little of the match, and I mean, he went wild.
But that was, like I say, that was a lot of fun times.
It was a great time.
Just thought we'd cover that a little bit again. We've talked about it before, but thought we might, just talk about it again, add some things that we remember to it.
I just want to say one thing before we close about that.
God, you gonna say something else?
I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
It's about people. I've got several messages, and Billy has, and Danielle has, about the movie coming out with Tom Hanks, and they were asking about. We didn't even know, but they have somebody supposedly that's playing Billy's character, which we don't know anything about. If they do or don't, but they were asking if Billy did the consulting on that, and so I'm just want to let everybody know. No, we were not even contacted. Billy was not contacted. I don't know how they can do a character and not know how the character was. So when the movie comes out, and it looks like maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. But anyway, he didn't consult on any. They don't know his character.
I won't be in it very much.
No, I'm sure he won't.
Because there's certain areas that they couldn't cover without me. I'm sure. So,
but
anyway,
I just wanted to get that out there.
Pretty sure that there won't be no speaking parts.
Oh, I'm sure not. But anyway, I just wanted to say if he looked,
yeah,
they didn't consult him, so.
If I look goofy, well, that's just me.
Don't base everything
fit the
on
part.
Yeah. Hoping it'll be a great movie, but
it could be. I haven't seen it yet. You can't judge a movie until you see it. You don't know.
I'm thinking it was about Colonel, though. It was, and Tom Hanks is a great actor.
And the guy playing Elvis. I'm pretty sure it's most of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that, I guess we'd better close this one out, and hope you enjoyed.
Baba says bye-bye.
And we'll be looking forward to doing some more.
Bye-bye.
And all as time goes on. And once again, just remember, Elvis Fans Matter.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.